Yo, what is the deal? What is the deal? Good morning. It's official now. The coaching search is over. The Pelicans have officially hired Jamahl Mosley, according to Shams. So it said the New Orleans Pelicans are hiring Jamahl Mosley as the franchise's new head coach on a 5-year contract. 5 years is interesting. Mosley accepts the Pelicans job after 5 seasons in Orlando, where he guided the Magic to 3 consecutive playoff berths. Sources said top Pelicans officials maintained consistent communication with Mosley since he was dismissed by the Magic on May 4th, and the sides formally met in person last week at the NBA Draft Combine. The New Orleans Pelicans believe the franchise is at a point similar to Mosley's leadership and development plan, where he took over the rebuilding Magic and then led to consecutive playoff appearances. So I know some people are going to be happy with this. Some people aren't going to be happy with this. Personally, I do not feel like this is a Willie Green hiring just because, and the Willie Green thing was a little bit different, but they made it official. Now, what would you be, Tom? It's funny you just said that. Now, my interest is going to be, how are they filling out the rest of this staff? How are they filling out the rest of this staff? That's really going to be my question, right? Because take this into account. Again, Jamahl Mosley is known for being a notoriously good defensive coach. Offense always struggled. Now, recently, you can see Paolo, was hurt, and they had some questions about Paolo. Shout out to everybody in the building. Make sure y'all hit that like button. Paolo was hurt. They had some questions about Paolo. Franz, he been hurt the last couple of years. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope was a disaster. They got different things if you want to shoot Mosley some bail. Not that he, quote-unquote, need bail. If you want to shoot him some bail and explain some of the offensive struggles, you can. They never really had shooting, etc. But there are some things to be concerned about. One being, shout out to my dog. Appreciate you, Michael Moyer, man. Shout out to everybody in the building. What up with you, Calvin? Look, shout out to everybody. I don't hate the hire. To me, the hire, this is a quote-unquote solid foundation hire. To me, this was the safest hire you can make. The safest hire. Now, some people don't like safe. Some people want to swing for the fences. Now, to me, what matters the most is, how are you surrounding Jamahl Mosley? How are you compensating for his shortcomings, right? Because shout out to the boy, damn, you down bad, damn. You down bad. You down bad, damn. Look, how are you compensating for his shortcomings as a head coach on the offensive side of the ball? Now, this is where, in my opinion, you should still bring in a great offensive mind, i.e., maybe Rondo, who knows, i.e., maybe Hetzel, depending on how you feel about his offensive schemes, maybe Sweeney, depending on how you feel about his offensive scheming, etc. I just think it wasn't the box office name people were like, now I don't say considering. I don't think it was the box office name that people wanted necessarily, right? Going back to November, look, if you watch, you watch the live streams we do going back to November, it's kind of somebody we was talking about. Well, somebody we've been talking about for a long time until Rondo got in the mix, and that was my favorite to be hired. But didn't happen. Got to move on. I think, again, there's a guy who has had some like great success. Think about this, though. And this is where shit gets weird. JB Bickerstaff, immediately after he won that Orlando series, JB Bickerstaff was hired, right? Shout out to Louisiana Gale. Shout out to everybody. JB Bickerstaff, immediately after he won that Orlando series, he was extended. He went on to lose in 7 to the Cavs. If Mosley wins that series versus the Pistons, I don't think he's extended. He may not be fired, but I don't think he's extended. But I do think that would change people's perspective on him. And that's why shit kind of weird to me, because if he win that series, to me, that don't really say nothing good or bad about him. He's still the same coach. But I think people are more down on him because he didn't win the series. Did y'all get what I'm saying? Shout out to everybody to make sure y'all hit the like button. I'm trying to see more news coming out. I know a lot of people aren't going to be happy about this because it is not Rondo. I think it got to the point. Look, I told somebody this last night. told somebody this last night in private, right? Yeah, things had shout out to Louisiana girl. Shit had got so bad between him and Paolo, it was over. It was over. Like it was bad. I said this. Me and Alvin said we was gonna be good with anybody as long as it wasn't Borrego. But I think also the reason why it's not like a Hetzel or like a Sweeney or nobody like that, because you got a person like Jeremiah Fairs who like is he's a young guy, but he's a quote unquote intense personality, right? Derek Queen, intense personality. Zion, not necessarily intense personality, but likes people that he can respect. The Pelicans have never had a dog head coach in the locker room. So they need somebody who will command respect. Not that Hetzel won't command respect, but they needed somebody that they know for sure is going to command respect. I think that's something Mosley can give you. Now, here's the issue, though. Sometimes when you got those coaches that demand respect, but they're not great X's and O's coaches, the message can get stale. Like nobody don't want to hear Willie Green with that. You got to fight shit. Nobody want to hear that shit no more. Like, you know what I'm saying? The message gets stale. That's why you got to set up the rest of the staff and make sure you got them X's and O's guys, man. Got to get them X's and O's guys. Got to make sure you got the right defensive personnel in that building. Look, we saw what happened with the Pistons last night. I think it's going to be some calls made personally about Isaiah Stewart. I don't think I think the Pistons going to end up having him married during, to be honest. I don't think it's going to happen. Look, the reason I'm sounding like this, I'm looking like this, because I literally just woke up to this news. I woke up, I was checking my stock market, and then my phone started blowing up, and I saw this. So that's why I just saw that, and I just hopped on the show, started talking to y'all. Please hit the like button. Shout out to everybody in the building. Daniel Blunt said, I like Mosley. Maybe he can help this team find an identity. Yeah. And they're going to have to, like, when you look at, again, you look at the Magic, their front office made a lot of mistakes, right? And again, I don't know if Mosley's going to be a good coach or what happened or what have you, but the front office made a lot of mistakes. And so is that a reason why Mosley start off is not such a, awesome offensive head coach? Or is he just generally not a great offensive coach? Both things could be true, right? The organization's too safe for me. They just don't want to lose much, but they just don't want to lose too much to bring too much attention, but win just enough to keep people at ease. I don't know, because here's the thing. Because I know that's a little bit of the narrative. Jamahl Mosley is not going to be no cheap coach. He's not going to be cheap, right? So that ain't really playing it safe, because this could very well be a Monty Williams situation if this don't go right. You feel me? This could be a Monty Williams situation. So I ain't gonna lie. He was the safe hire from the standpoint of he got credentials. He got some accomplishments. But boy, if this don't go right, this could be Monty Williams, because a 5-year deal is ambitious. That's a very ambitious deal. But you know what that tells me? And I could be wrong, but that tells me that this, if it goes well, right? If it goes well, then this probably gonna be the only coach. And whoever his lead assistant is, look, my phone blowing up. Whoever his lead assistant is probably gonna be the heir apparent. Hopefully that lead assistant is Rondo, right? Somebody said someone just told me even man. Oh, yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, son. So shout out to my dog. He just texted me. Look, the thing with Rondo, I know a lot of people had interest in Rondo. Listen, the thing with Rondo had more to do with Gale than anything else. The thing with Rondo had more to do. We talked about this last night. The thing with Rondo had more to do with Gale. That was a Gale call. Y'all look, read between the lines. I don't want to say too much, but the thing with Rondo, that was a Gale call. Like Gale was like, nah. You feel me? So, but yeah, I think this current regime, shout out to Louisiana guy, I think they're looking at this for like 2 or 3 years. And then if it don't work out and they do have to go into a full scale rebuild, I think then you'll see a new coach kind of ushered in. You'll see the old guard kind of ushered out. That's why I'm telling y'all, I don't think they really at risk. I mean, I've been saying it for a while. I don't think they're really at risk of blowing this team up. I think what they're gonna try to do is get a coach who know how to win. They already got Zion in the building, already got Trey. You counting on a second year jump for Fizz, but now you gotta go finish it. You gotta go finish it, fam. You gotta go build a proper roster, get some shooting, because if you don't supplement this roster with the proper pieces, you're gonna run into a lot of the same issues you had in Orlando. To where it's like, the defense is solid because you ain't got the defensive personnel here. Like the defense is solid, but the offense still ain't shit. Like you gotta go get the guys that can thread the needle there for us talent wise, because JB Bickerstaff in his prior stop in Cleveland, the offense was cool, but he had some of the same issues the way like, you're a guy that can't really get the team over the hump. You're a guy that can't really get the team over the hump. Like Kenny Atkinson last night was looking like a guy who can't get the team over the hump because he just had a 2 7-game series versus, in my opinion, inferior talent teams. That's just my opinion. Jason Anderson, Jamahl Mosley, who was dismissed as the head coach of Pelicans, identifies as a devout Christian. His faith frequently influences how he speaks about his character and leadership. I don't really think that got much to do with it, to be honest, bro. I think the shit with Rondo went bad because, I mean, at head coach, because you don't really know what's going to happen with him staff-wise. I think the shit with Rondo went bad because, like I said last night, bro, in one of those situations, Rondo was formerly arrested. Like he was actually arrested for it. I don't remember if he was necessarily formally charged, but he was arrested for it. And another one of the situations is on tape. So, like, that is optics. Personally, I'm like, I don't know what happened. If he say he didn't do it, I don't know, right? But it's on tape. You know what I'm saying? So he ain't looking great. So I understand that, but yet and still, to turn your nose up at the guy, and I don't know. I don't want to go down that road. Anyway, but yeah, man, I had to check the stock market today. My shit is ugly to open, so I'm hoping for a gap up, but right now it's looking bad. I'm trying to see if any other new news is coming out. Now, this gives you a strong foundation where you can bring in some pieces, give you a solid leadership, and here's the thing too. You more or less know exactly what you're getting, because I think Rondo gonna end up being a good coach somewhere in the future, but there's a chance. It's a chance for Mosley, chance for Hessel, chance for anybody if those dudes ultimately end up getting jobs. Terry Stotts said he'd like to return to Portland. I think that'll be interesting, especially with Damian Lillard already back in Portland. But there's a chance that any of these guys could be trash. There's a real chance, and that goes for all of them, bro. That goes for everybody. There's a chance Rondo cannot be good. There's a chance Hessel gonna be bad. There's a chance Sweeney, whoever you want it. Like you already know Borrego trash. So whatever, right? But what this also showed me, and like I've been telling y'all this for a long time now. Been telling y'all the Pelicans, like our local media, like ain't a lot of shit leak out like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, of course, we've been talking about Mosley on here for a long time, but that a lot of stuff do not leak out, bro. And that's why this shit was such like a strenuous process. I don't think it was a situation where like, oh, they waiting to meet him or they waiting to interview him. No, they've been talking to him. Nigga just have to make a decision. Sam said, I'm not mad at the hire. You can't say anything till they start playing facts. Like, again, like I hate to keep bringing this brother up. When Monty Williams was hired in Detroit with the richest coach contract in history, it was a fucking disaster. They thought hiring Monty Williams was going to be their ticket to legitimacy. Shit ended up being a disaster. But when Monty Williams was hired in Phoenix, like I didn't understand it, but motherfuckers went to the finals. So things can change rapidly. We won't know the extent of this until we know what's going on with this staff. Hopefully he just don't bring a bunch of people from the Orlando staff over, because to me that's going to be the waste of time and resources. You just bringing everybody from Orlando back. Hopefully, we're on an incline with the staff hirings and things of that nature. Got 5 years. That's a lot of damn job security. That's a lot of fucking years. I ain't gonna hold you. 5 years. That's a long contract. So he should be very confident and comfortable with that contract. That's a long fucking contract. I'm not gonna hold you. That's something that took me aback because I was expecting like the most I would think is like 4, but 5 years is a long contract for a veteran head coach. So I guess shout out to him. Biggest staffs, Sam said biggest staff was thrown out of Cleveland and hired by the Pistons. Bro, like again, if Cleveland loses that game last night after that hire, that looks. I mean, like, look, if Cleveland loses that game to Bickerstaff last night, man, like Cleveland looks fucking ridiculous. Like they really do. H. Bizzle said you could bring in Phil Jackson and Pop. It won't matter if this roster ain't fixed. Yeah, like here's the thing. You need guys that can maximize the talent that's already there, and you also need to bring in more talent. Well, what up with your T5 the Great? Daniel said, I wonder if he gets a review in year 3. Very possible. If the team is doing well or not doing well, even then, I think ultimately the goal is to set a foundation, help develop some of your young guys, which I don't necessarily know if that's his strong suit because Anthony Black had some, he had some peaks and valleys, but Paolo's been great. But of course, Paolo was the number one guy. Franz has been great. A couple of their Suggs had a cool window, but Suggs ain't been like amazing, but he had a very cool window. So the development is kind of mixed bag. But generally, I think he's a good coach. Now, B. Thomas said they didn't even let Mosley see what and where he went wrong. That's the thing too, is like, again, you up 3-1, Franz get hurt. Franz really been hurt most of the season. Franz get hurt. Suggs is awful. You got a 20-something point lead. Again, to me, if you think, here's the thing, and I'm being real. If you think Mosley was going to be a bad coach or bad hire no matter what, cool, I understand it. But if you don't like him because of what happened in that series, you got to zoom out a little bit because that's more of a recency bias. You just got to zoom out a little bit. Brian says salary cap sheet is an absolute mess also. Actually, it's funny you say that. The Pelicans salary cap sheet is not a mess, bro. The Pelicans are actually in a pretty solid spot because they don't have what you would consider a bunch of quote-unquote bad contracts. Let me see. I could probably show you this real quick. Y'all, shout out to everybody in the building. Make sure y'all hit that like button, man. We in here talking. Pelicans just hired their head coach in Jamahl Mosley. So if you take a look, right, you take a look at the Pelicans salary cap sheet. Zion, of course, Zion's on the contract, but Jordan Poole, $34 million expiring going into the offseason. So that contract, in my opinion, is going to be more valuable than it's ever been, in my opinion. $34 million expired. DeJounte Murray got 2 years left on his deal. If he's traded, maybe he's willing to opt out for a longer deal. To me, the worst contract on the books is DeJounte and potentially Herb. Kevon Looney, you're going to waive him most likely. Jeremiah Fairs, Jordan Hawkins is expiring if you can't package him in the trade. Sadiq Bey only making 6.5 next year. Everybody else still kind of on a rookie scale deals. That's not a bad contract, not a bad salary cap situation. Where it gets funky at, in my opinion, where shit get a little ugly at, is the fact that you don't have a ton of roster spots. You about $12 million from the tax. You got $12 million to spend today. Well, like once you waive Looney, you got about $12 million to spend. So before you cross the luxury tax. But let's say you get one shooter. Let's say Fontecchio agrees to come for like $7 million. All right, now I only got $5 million to spend. Now I got to go find a big man. Or if I target a big man, let's say I give a big man. Let's say I got Time Lord. Let's say Robert Williams, and I give him about $8 million. Now I gotta go find somebody who's willing to take about $4 million, and then if they bring DeAndre Jordan back, that could because you're taking up a roster spot and you're gonna be giving him the league minimum. So I don't know if that's the best use of resources, but I do think if the Pelicans go ahead and do a trade, they have to send out more players than they take back. They have to do a 2-for-1. They gotta mix and match a couple of these things, 3 for 2, something along those lines, because the Pelicans just don't have the roster spots, in my opinion, to put forth, that type of roster that I think Jamahl Mosley would need to be as competitive as he was with Orlando. Louisiana Gale said the contract number is enlarged. If there's no players over the next 2 years, I think you can see him, Troy, and potentially Dumont out the door. Potentially. Louisiana Gale says she's not letting money stay as long as David Griffin again without winning. Yeah, that makes sense. That totally makes sense. Bird Talks, I told you last night, bro. Yeah, I mean, look, bro. In the last couple of weeks, everybody you talk to behind the scenes, for the people that was talking, because they ain't many, everybody you talk to was like, I think it's Mosley because of the shit with Gale and Rondo. My hope was that was bad low. Turned out not to be bad low, but I was hoping that was bad low because I wanted Rondo. I thought the Rondo shit was going to be exciting. Ayton for Poole, I wouldn't do it. I think I wouldn't do it, and I don't think the Lakers need to do that because the Lakers got to make a decision about Austin Reeves. The Lakers going to need some perimeter defense. I think if it was like Ayton and 2 firsts for her, 2 firsts and maybe a swap. The reason I say maybe a swap because the Lakers don't have good draft picks, in my opinion. Be time to say I don't mind the high. I just want to see something different. That's kind of predictable. Yeah, it is kind of predictable for the sake of I don't want to say it's a high floor, low ceiling higher if you don't get the roster right. High floor, low ceiling higher if you don't get the roster right. But if you get the roster right, I think it could work out. Shelby said you hate this move, Shelby. I can understand it. I think people don't like it because it is a retread, coach. And at least with Rondo, it's the great unknown. It's the great unknown. And that's what makes people attracted to it. And we all respect Rondo. But I mean, to be fair, Rondo could not be good. It is what it is. Raheem say by committee Mosley. Hey, I hope Mosley can get the job done, man. I am a fan of, well, I don't want to say a fan of Mosley per se, but I'm a fan of going and get somebody that's not as quite unknown if you're going to put the right staff around that person. You feel me? To me, the worst thing they could have did was bring back Rondo. I wasn't as against him as some people were, but with this, it gives you at least a solid foundation, but you gotta bring the right staff, bro, and get some shooters. Nola Big said, what kind of player realistically brings Mosley the most success that the Pels have or can acquire? It gotta be, I think, firstly, you need a defensive anchor, whether that's Isaiah Stewart, Precious Achiuwa, one of those guys, or even if Eve Messi takes another step, you need the defensive anchor and defensive rebounder. In my opinion, defensive rebounding is more important than rim protection. That's firstly. Secondly, you got a point guard. I'm about to say you need a point guard, but you got a point guard. Maybe you bring in another veteran point guard if you're moving to DeJounte for shooting or what have you. But you need shooting. One of the biggest issues that Jamahl Mosley and Orlando Magic have had for years. Me and Chris used to laugh about this. Shout out to Chris Conner, aka Patient Bull. We used to laugh about this. The Orlando Magic had some of the worst shooting in the league for the last 3 or 4 years. That's why they traded for KCP. That didn't work out. That's why they ended up trading for Bang. You gotta have 3-point shooting. You gotta have 3-point shooting with Jamahl Mosley and Jamahl Mosley led teams. That was already a need, so it ain't like you only need it because Jamahl Mosley's here now. But you gotta get 3-point shooting. Trey is one. He said F no. I think he's talking about for Ayton. Terry said Trey for Duran. I wouldn't do it, honestly. I wouldn't say it has a ton to do with Duran's playoff performance, but I just don't see how that makes sense with Trey for Duran. If it was Herb and stuff for Duran and a couple firsts, that makes sense. But if I trade Trey for Duran, now I got to go find about 3-4 fucking shooters because I got Queen, Duran, and Zion. Or even if it's just Duran and the Queen, to me, it's a very ugly, cloggy matchup, in my opinion. Whoa, what up with you, Denzel? He said, Chaz, long time brother, prayers and blessings. I'm shocked they revealed this contract, unlike Bill Green. Yo, that is a difference. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to them for some transparency, because we don't know what the hell Billy Green shit was. Billy Green had getting money out the head. Jeffrey, what's up, brother? He said, morning, Chad. Just tuned in. Not sure if you covered this. What do you think? Who you think will be the assistants on the staff? I'm hoping that they spend a bit on Rondo if Rondo ultimately doesn't get a head coaching gig. There's only a few head coaching gigs available right now. I don't really think many people we saw from the postseason are gonna lose their coaches. Hopefully you can get Rondo in some type of assistant capacity. Hetzel's still out there, Sweeney's in the playoffs. Jared Jack is on the Detroit staff, so you could probably look to them to maybe pick one or two guys from the Detroit staff. Jerry Stackhouse and Terry Stotts were both let go or left the Golden State Warriors, so they could potentially be candidates. Stackhouse played ball with Dumas in Detroit, if I'm not mistaken. That's something that could potentially happen. Zeke said, what's your letter grade on hiring? I give it a B. I got to see what else they do. It's a B that could become an F if shit goes like how Monty Williams went. But I'm going to be real. With Rondo, look, B. Thomas said we would have gave Rondo grace. You might have gave Rondo grace, right? But on the real, people, if they hired Rondo, and I put this on Twitter yesterday, if they hire Rondo and Rondo, it just don't work out the first few years, people will say, look at this shit. They're stupid. They hired a first-year head coach with no experience. What did they think was going to happen? It's like, it's kind of like once Rondo name became a candidate, like anybody other than Rondo was going to have some backlash, in my opinion. Anybody other than Rondo is going to have some backlash, other opinion. See, Bridges said, I knew some bullshit was going to happen when Rondo posted about knowing your worth a few days ago. Could be unrelated. But I guess we'll have to see. Sam King said Hardaway, Kennard, and Powell this offseason. I think Kennard is a possibility. I don't think Tim Hardaway will come to New Orleans just because he rejected New Orleans before. Norman Powell, I think he's going to be out of their price range. See, Bridges said the Pelicans so addicted to mediocrity is nauseating. But who do you think would have been the home run hire, though, C. Breeze? Because we ain't really got no track record on nobody else. Just to be fair and objective, it's like the Rondo thing would have been fun and cool to talk about, but we really don't have a track record on nobody else. That's the fucked up part. Like, you know, I still would have been interested in getting Rondo, though, personally. Pause. Louisiana guy said, people might not like this, but last night someone told me Wendell Carter Jr. could also be a target. Orlando wants to share salary. He obviously has a history with Mosley. I think he's a solid guy, had a really good playoffs. I'm not a huge fan of Wendell Carter Jr. Looked like he a little bit overweight, but I mean, I don't know. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. I always thought he was solid. Like I never thought he was like awesome. Thought he was solid, kind of like a version of Miles Turner. Obviously, I think the best version of Miles Turner is better than Wendell Carter Jr., but he's kind of like a version of Miles Turner. Solid, just not spectacular. I wouldn't mind bringing him in. I'm the same person that advocated for bringing in Goga Batata. So I can't turn my nose up at Wendell Carter Jr. too much, to be fair. Paperboy said, saw that coming season guy. Yeah, season guy has won the league, just hasn't won a playoff series. And I also think people got to understand where the Pelicans are at in their journey. Just to be real, it's like going out, you're looking to buy a mansion. And it's like, yeah, you're looking to buy a mansion, but you're homeless. Right now, the Pelicans are in their homeless stage. Pelicans need a bed. The Pelicans need a pillow. The Pelicans need a roof. So we might could get to the promised land, but we ain't consistently even getting to the playoffs. So we got to be realistic also about where the Pelicans are at this point in their journey. My dog, what's the deal, bro? You say anybody but fuck Rego. What up, Chad? What up with your homie? Squallow said they sure diverted with yesterday's leak. Oh, you mean as far as like they didn't they just went ahead and made it happen and they probably rushed their process. That's what you mean. Zach, what up with you, Zach? He said, what kind of deal of Zion didn't work for you. If you mean extension or you mean trade? Let me know, Zach, if you mean extension or trade, bro. Orlando has like 5 legit big man pairs done. Who do you think the play is on getting the big man Sabonis? I would like Sabonis, but if I would like Sabonis if you're talking about defensive rebounding, because defensive rebounding can also help you get out into transition, help you close off possessions. I would like Sabonis. He's a distressed asset you can potentially get for low cost from the Kings, because the Sacramento Kings. You want to talk about a bad cap situation. The Sacramento Kings have a bad cap situation. So he's somebody you could potentially get from the Sacramento Kings. Preston Achua, another guy who's coming off a really good year. I know people not gonna like to hear this person's name, but Marvin Bagley is another young cheap guy coming off a really good year. My thinking out of the box target. There's also a guy like Derek Lively who's dealt with a lot of injuries. Just thinking out of the box. He's a guy who dealt with some injuries. Uptown say Jordan Poole staying if we need 3-point shooter. If he is staying, I don't know if that'll be the reason why he's staying, because they need 3-point shooting. In fact, one of Jordan Poole's best games of the season was against Orlando on the road. I don't know if he'd be staying just because they need 3-point shooting. I think maybe if great deals out there don't materialize, like for example, there's a path to trading. Let's just say this DeJounte. That's the path to trading DeJounte, Herb, or Jordan Hawkins, and getting 1 or 2 really good contributing players and waiting to the deadline to trade Jordan Poole. Like, there's paths to do that. You don't have to necessarily trade everybody this offseason, but you got to make at least one major move, in my opinion. That's just me. Can live with the experienced head coach hire. Yeah, to me, again, they casted a wide net, but once so many names get thrown out there, it's kind of like the Kevin Durant. I mean, it's kind of like that Kevin Garnett meme. Like, why the fuck would you tell me? Why the fuck would you show me something if I couldn't have it? Like, you know what I'm saying? That's kind of like how people look at things. See, Breeders say Rondo had so much upside. Bare minimum, Rondo would have had us fighting for a playing spot off mentality and knowledge of the game alone. Rondo basically played head coach in the court. Yeah, but it's just one of them things, bro. Like, for example, people don't like Darvin Ham, right? Darvin Ham at one time was thought to be the young hot head coach assistant. Like, wherever he goes, he's about to be a great head coach. And it never, depending on how you feel about his Lakers tenure, it didn't really materialize like that. So upside is one thing, but you still got to realize that potential. And that's the thing with Rondo. I hope Rondo does land somewhere and is able to realize that potential, because I am a fan of Rondo and would have really liked that high. Shout out to everybody in the building. Make sure y'all hit that like button, man. We got 136 people in here. I know some of y'all at work. This is breaking news. Brian said, as long as the bench is on the franchise, mediocrity is the goal. Potentially. I mean, football is different than basketball. But here's the thing, too, when you talk about the benches, right? Well, Gail specifically. They haven't had a great team yet either. Like, aside from Chris Paul and the Boogie Cousins, Anthony Davis team, they haven't really had a great team yet. That's another thing. Like, you haven't had a team yet the way you would say, I'm going into the luxury tax and I'm going into the repeater tax for this team. It's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it ain't, they ain't had a team yet. Zion's been hurt a lot. Brandon was hurt a lot. You keep missing in the fucking first round. Drafted Jordan Hawkins, that didn't work out. Drafted Dyson, that didn't work out. You drafted Jax, that didn't work out. You drafted Kyra Lewis over Tyrese Maxey, that didn't work out. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't think Gale is one of the best owners, but I also think they haven't had a team yet, to be honest. I blame a lot of what happened here on Trajan Langdon and David Griffin, to be honest. Like, for example, Trajan Langdon drafted Ron Holland with number 5 in the draft. He drafted him 5th in the draft. Ron Holland was benched pretty much the entire postseason. Couldn't get 1 minute of play time really in his second year. I don't think he played at all in the Cavs series. He's playing like they had to play Karis LeVert. Now, Ron Holland still could become a great player, but it's like, Trajan, what are you doing, bro? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, dog. I don't know. Nozina say Mosley just enough talent to drag everyone along for the next couple years. Probably. You got to get it. Look, bro, you got to get some superstars or some star level talent in the building. Say Darvin Ham would have went upside Zion head. Bird Talk said there's no coach we could get that makes the fan base happy. I told you it kind of got to a point where the PR is so bad, it really don't matter what they do. Some people only wanted Borrego. It like that was a real thing. I'm telling y'all, like some people, not in the building, I meant for us the fan base, only wanted Borrego. So any hire that wasn't Borrego was going to upset some people. Some people, any hire that wasn't Rondo. For me, my mentality was this: they gonna hire Rajon Rondo until they don't, and today they didn't. So it's like, what the fuck? Louisiana guys, I'm expecting to hear some trade talks leak soon. Pelicans have known Mosley would have stepped for 3-4 days and immediately pivoted to calling teams to get an understanding of players' work this summer. It makes sense. It makes sense because again, it depends on how you evaluate the draft. I do heard they like some of the guys in the draft, but I don't know if they like them enough to really like sell the farm to go get them. Because you don't hire Mosley and then rebuild the team because now you look kind of weird. Like, you know what I'm saying? So we definitely gonna see what the next move is. Squad will say should be able to get a vet big at $8 million. Oh yeah, $8 million easy. $8 million might be too much money to be honest. You could probably get a vet big for less than that. Truthfully, I say Rondo would have kicked out the game, letting his team lose, being up. We don't know that. Rondo never been in that series. See, Breezy, we don't know that, bro. I mean, Rondo never been in that situation, so we don't really know that. Mike say long term, where or who do you want Fierce to look like? Kevin Johnson, De'Aaron Fox. Ooh. I don't think Fierce. I think De'Aaron Fox is I don't think Fierce has a De'Aaron Fox type game. I think my ideal comp for Jeremiah Fierce is a poor man's Tyrese Maxey. As far as like short, strong player. Well, not short, but not tall, strong guard, could get downhill. Jumpers coming along, mid-range game started coming along a little bit as far as that floater. Never going to be like an ace ball distributor. I don't think that's going to be his game. But I also think Jeremiah Fierce, if you have a large point guard, I think he could also play alongside point guard. Wiggy Will said, "But this pillow got pee stain." I don't know what. Hey, they dang not even Section 8 apartment. Yeah, like the Pelicans homeless, bro. You know what I'm saying? It kind of is what it is. Just to be real, Target for Life said, "I have no choice but to support it." Yeah, yo, Target for Life. That's real, bro. Because he our coach now. You got to support the brother, and not saying that people won't, because I think people will fall in line, especially if the Pelicans go out and make the right roster moves. Like, this is not something that's going to excite the fan base. So you got to give them something that's going to excite them, and that's where roster moves come in. I don't think Jamal Mosley is going to sell no tickets. Even if they hire Rondo, and didn't do nothing else, that wasn't gonna sell no tickets. You gotta build a really good roster, in my opinion. That's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping that the roster move is awesome. Jeffrey, what up with you, bro? He said, question, did the Pels overpay for Mosley? I heard that Mosley had years left on his Orlando contract. Was thinking about taking some time off this upcoming season. I don't know the particulars of that contract, but I'm of his current contract, but I think he was making like $7 million per year in Orlando. Nah, I wouldn't say they overpaid him because, I mean, he's a repeated playoff coach. So you're going to give him at least 6. Like, you know what I'm saying? If he was making 7, he probably wouldn't come somewhere for less than like 6 or 5. I don't think you was going to pay him like 3 a year. You know what I'm saying? Because he did go to multiple teams. Like Orlando used to be one of the worst teams in the NBA. He did like pull that team out of hell in a relatively short time. You wasn't going to just disrespect his mind, I don't think. Keep it me. Well, Jabro, he said Pelicans just need a playoff game at this point. This coach will help with that. Look, if the Pelicans get to the playoffs, nobody gonna care, honestly, bro. Like a lot of this stuff is emotional. Not even just the fans. I'm talking about even with the media. A lot of this shit is emotional because a lot of the local media wasn't really in the loop like that, wasn't in the huddle, because this front office, you know, they don't really care about going out and kissing babies and making friends like that. They don't go out of their way to do all that. They don't give a fuck about none of that. So, and they don't want shit leaked. That's another thing. Like, they don't want shit to really get out there like repeatedly. The Mosley thing, we kind of knew about that since Jake Fisher put it out last year. But aside from that, like they don't like a lot of shit being leaked. I can tell you that for sure. Trade, bro, talk trade Zion. If I can give a blue chip prospect, and if it's coming from a bad team, I would just like one unprotected first, maybe a swap. If it's coming from a good team, if I can get two unprotected first and just one blue chip prospect, I think you probably at least have to entertain it if for Zion. Because I mean, who knows what's next at this point? Hopefully he could stay healthy, stay on the trajectory he's on, and he can ball out. The thing with Zion too, that would kind of separate him from Paolo is that Zion kind of already know who he is. As far as Paolo still trying to figure it out, but I still think Paolo's a great player. Say Poole is a good expiring too, though. Oh yeah, Poole. Look, the Pelicans can realistically get up to $50 million in expiring money if they want to. This off the rip right now, they can get up to like 43 just between Carlo, Poole and Hawkins. That's about 53 expiring right there. That's off the rip. Then if you add Bryce, that's 45. You know what I'm saying? Like the Pelicans have a lot of like flexibility money-wise. Dwayne said, wish we would have pushed harder for Jared Allen during the Griffin era. Would have been good for us. Yeah, I think, see, Jared Allen on that contract, to me, would have been a steal. Jared Allen on this current contract, whoo, that's an ugly contract, boy. I ain't going to lie. That's an ugly contract, that new contract Jared Allen on. Brian said, truly talking to they still got New Orleans in front of the jersey, so I'm still all in facts. So my dog said Sabonis marketing Wendell Carter Jr., EBC Queen, aka all praying mantis team. Yeah, that's a lot of height and wingspan there. Squall say Avery Johnson hasn't coached in decades. Yeah, I don't. He ain't even really been attached to no teams in decades. Mike say Rondo might still be in play, lead assistant. That's what I was hoping. Look, I talked to a lot of people behind the scenes, like just off the record type shit. I don't even not within the org. I'm just talking about just having conversations. And to me, my ideal thing was always, now this might not happen, but my ideal thing was, look, I just want Rondo in the building in some capacity. I just want Rondo in the building. Even if he not, like if he the head coach and you hire him as his lead assistant, cool. But I didn't see a lot of avenues to where a guy like Mosley was going to come in and be the lead assistant for Rondo. Like, no, that to me, that's a little bit insulting. Like, if I'm a head coach that just did this at a high level, why would I come in and be a lead assistant to Rondo? But Rondo, I think, would be willing to be a lead assistant on the team because he was just, you know, assistant coach. Like, he didn't really, still don't have a lot of time on task. Ill Will, what's the deal? He said, I don't think I'm a Pels fan anymore. Hey, man, I understand, bro. I understand. If this your breaking point, I don't really know what would have kept you a fan if this your breaking point. Mike Mel said, I'm glad we didn't get hand. That's probably what would have been a real breaking point. Say B. Thomas said Tom Benson different guy, in my opinion. Oh, yeah, Tom Benson was a bit more aggressive, especially with the Saints. I don't know what he would have did with them Pelicans, but definitely with the Saints. And Louisiana got there. People have to let go of the Rondo stuff. Told him weeks ago Rondo didn't fit Benson's image. She couldn't parade him around town. That wasn't Joe's decision to not give him the head coach. I agree. I think people are more annoyed at Gail though, because it's like you got some fucking nerve to be worried about your image, all the things you attached to. But you know, it is sometimes. See, again, we spoke about players who had some off the court issues. The players are one thing. The head coach is a different thing because it'll be different if these were like rumors and shit like that. But again, Rondo got the mug shot. Some of the shit was on camera. So it hits a little bit different. But I still think they should bring him in somehow in the building personally. The Kari said, I thought someone reported Mosley was going to take a year off. That changed quickly. I'm not sure who reported that. Squallers, a bunch of first and second April teams got pushed out the playoffs. Yeah, like spending doesn't necessarily equate to you doing nothing. But if you look at, like, for example, people say the Spurs didn't really do shit. The Spurs got De'Aaron Fox. What are you talking about? Then the Spurs got a number 1 pick. Then the Spurs got a number 2 pick. Then they got the rookie of the year, Stephen Castle. The Spurs had a lot of shit go their way. The Knicks, we already know the Knicks went out their way to build that team. OKC, they got an MVP. They didn't do many like trades, but that's a 7-year process. Like, well, they've been building that team for at least like 6-7 years. And the Cleveland made some major trades, hit on some draft picks. Like the Mobley is like one of the only homegrown guys there. But they traded for Schroeder, traded for Keon Brooks, traded for Donovan Mitchell, traded for Jared Allen, traded for James Harden, traded for Garland. No, drafted Garland before that. But like, shit, like they made a lot of moves. Say, Jay Stein, I said, I need Louisiana Gal on the pod. Look, if Louisiana Gal willing to go public, I would love to have my dog on here. That's my dog. I would love to have her on the show. I don't know if she willing to go public, though. Louisiana Gal, she being a cut. Louisiana Gal being a cut. I don't know if she want to go public like that. JB said, does this move make Borrego out as an assistant, or is he gone? I don't think nobody's really beating down Borrego's door to hire him as head coach. They may not be beating down his door at this point to even hire him as a lead assistant. I can see a world to where he'd like to stay, but with them firing everyone else, I don't know why they would bring in Borrego, honestly. With them firing everyone else, I don't know why they would retain Borrego, truthfully. Inkstar says, is this a Willie Green hire? No! Shout out to Inkstar. That's a good question. Jay Stein said Willie Green 2.0. Look, I guess because some of the complaints sounded similar, that's why people feel that way. But check this out. Because to me, Willie Green was more of a Monty Williams 2.0. But this is why this not like quote unquote a Willie Green hire, in my opinion, is because Willie Green was a developmental coach in Phoenix, was an assistant coach in Golden State, and then became the Pelicans head coach. Mosley is a multiple-time playoff coach. Not one series, but multiple-time playoff coach prior to coming to the Pelicans. Like Willie Green didn't have those like stats. If Willie Green, if somebody go hire Willie Green somewhere, maybe you could say that he's a Mosley type hire, but I don't think Mosley's a Willie Green type hire, personally. Because I just don't see any evidence to support that necessarily. Unless you want to talk about the type of struggles that they have. Like if you want to talk about the type of struggles that they have as far as like some relationship issues. But I mean, the team went up 3-1. If they would have won that series again, I don't think no one would really be complaining. I don't think, but again, people really like Rondo. Mondo said send Borrego to Labor Day in the morning. They roofing Labor Day. Oh man, that's wild, bro. That's wild. Jay Kelly, you was right, bro. Yeah, I mean, it kind of seemed inevitable. I was tweeting about it a lot and talking about it on the show, like over this past season. Like we talked about Mosley a lot on this show. But at the same time, it's like once Rondo name got in the mix, everybody was like, yo, fuck that. Let's go over here. Something new, something fresh, something with some upside. But that ain't always the case. Yo, shout out to everybody in the building. Make sure y'all hit that like button. There's 136 people in the building. I know some of y'all at work probably listening. If y'all on that forklift, y'all need to be paying attention. Do not knock them motherfucking pallets over. Dog Nights, I'm about to be depressed from the 9 April. Nah, to me, it ain't worth being depressed. Wait, I'm about to be depressed from November to April now. I don't think it's that bad. If they don't improve the roster, then I'll be depressed. So was Joe not watching stagnant half-court offense of the Magic in game 6 or 7 of that first round? Well, here's the thing. Does that have more to do with the player personnel, or does that have more to do with the team? Because look, even Uptown Kid, even with that stagnant offense in game 6 and 7, in game 5, they was up 20 points at halftime, if I'm not mistaken. They just shit the bed. They didn't want to attack the rim, kept missing threes. Desmond Bain was terrible. Suggs was terrible. Franz was hurt. Paolo was good. But Paolo was the only one that showed up in game 5. Everybody else took the motherfucking night off. Wendell Carter Jr. held Duran in check most of that series. They just couldn't get the job done. So they still need to fix that roster. Absolutely need to fix that roster. Need to add some shooting. Need to add some size in that front court. And some strength and size and strength on the perimeter. That's another thing about Orlando. The reason why Orlando was able to match up so well with the Pistons is because they play extremely physical. Like they play an extremely physical brand of basketball. We already know how Suggs plays. Suggs is a very physical guy. They need to add some of that physicality along the perimeter, in my opinion. Ebony say Miami Heat 13 pick. Now, hopefully they call for her. You talking about for Zion? Nah, I'm not taking that. I'm cool on that. Me Monk said we still gonna try to get Ja. I hope so. 99 Dog say what I miss. Nothing really. Jamahl Mosley's been announced as the new head coach of the Pelicans. And now we just waiting to hear how the rest of the roster gonna fall out. I got a lot of once I get off this show, I got a lot of phone calls to make, boy. I got a lot of phone calls to make. Zilla said Shams tweeted in the sin. This is are you trying to say insinuated? Shams tweeted this is traditional high and hopes to build the foundation like he did in Orlando. As long as Mosley can help us get in the playoffs, I'm cool with it, considering what we've seen these last few years. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I haven't Louisiana guys, I haven't been able to confirm this, but I've heard Stein, Jake leaks come from Troy, and all Scoop B leaks come from Joe's son Jordan. Oh wow. Okay. Ugh. But man, see, the fact that you could trace the leak is what that's tough. Bree, the analyst, say, are we happy with the hire? Happy might be a strong word, Bree. I think a lot of people are happy that Borrego isn't the head coach. It's going to be interesting to see if they'll retain him. It's going to be interesting to see if, see if he's retained, but I can't really see a world where he's retained if they went ahead and got rid of everybody, especially if they want to get rid of all the people that was talking to the press. Borrego will probably be one of the people you have to get rid of. Uptown Kid will say, what is the trade value of the Bucks pick next year in the trade? What could it realistically get you? Right now, I think it could get you a starter, quote unquote, starting caliber player. I don't think it'll get you nothing great until Giannis is officially traded. Once Giannis is officially traded, I think that pick becomes that much more valuable. But right now, Giannis play all kind of games. Giannis, yes, I never said that I wanted to be traded. I said I just want to compete. I want to remain competitive. I never said that I wanted to leave Milwaukee. I left Milwaukee. Like, man, shut up. Get the fuck on. If you're leaving, go ahead. Like, he just fucking up the whole game, man. Game sour because of Giannis. Get traded, man, so we can move on. I'm tired of this. Every fucking year we got to deal with this. Mont Dog said, I just want Rondo on the bench to take Feds under his wing. Same here. Would be great. JDC Borrego assistant. I hope not. Mr. Law and Jose, we hire Rondo as first assistant. All the fans will do is cry for Rondo. But see, that's the thing too. It's like, that's why I say, bro, you can't win. With some people, you can't win. Because with some people, the assistant coach is always the best coach. The backup quarterback is always the best fucking quarterback. Like, hey, why don't you put, I hate throwing this guy under the bus, but why don't you put Josh McCown in the game? Drew Brees' arm is weak. Let Josh McCown throw the ball. Man, shut up. This be cool. Like, you know what I'm saying? Maybe Josh McCown is back up for a reason. Nola Big said, I'm hoping Mosley just took away a ton of knowledge from his tenure with the Magic, especially playoffs. Bright side, we have a coach. Also, JB Bickerstaff is a hell of a coach, so there's that as well. It ain't lying. The reason why it looked really bad because Orlando had a 3-1 lead. If Orlando was 2-2, it looks different. But they had a 3-1 lead. It makes it look especially bad. Bruce said, just remember one thing, what he did in the East ain't going to work in the West. The East, in my opinion, the East might be better than the West right now, just to be real. Just be real. Let's see. If we had around the first assistant fans, we'll call him around at every loss. Man, we got to roll with it. This still our team. Could be a situation like that. Bostonville Sniper say, would it be wise to put Rondo on the sideline? I don't think the fans in the media will get most of their fast shot and call for replacement at the first mistake. Let me tell you this. This front office really don't care what the media got to say. I ain't gonna hold you. They do not care what the media has to say. Fan base, I don't know, but they don't give a fuck about no media backlash. I can tell you that right now. They do not care about the media, bro. This is something I've heard. They don't give a fuck. I commented said Gail truly be caring about the image of the team while turning a blind eye to the shit she's been involved in. Screw the image. Give me every UGA player, even if it means winning more games. I mean, again, I think the Rondo shit, the fact that there is the mugshot and things you can go to on video, that makes it a little bit worse. Oh man, I don't know. JD said Willie and Mosley are both clean. Nah, I don't know about that. I don't know. I don't know, but I mean, hey, Google, you could look go to Google with some stuff. Like I said, Gal ain't got no squeaky clean image. Dark Knight said, I'm not gonna lie, they need to make the playoffs right. If they make it to the play and they need to win the series, I'm a little tired of being at the bottom. Yeah, we all are, man. Ultimately, only thing that could cure this is winning. Only thing that could cure this is winning. They said, why on earth would JB want to come back? No way. Unless he don't have many options. I can see him in Golden State as well, JD. I can see him in Golden State as well. But if his goal is to head on the incline and become a head coach, ain't a ton of options. Unless if Trajan come out of left, not Trajan, if Bryson come out of left field and hire Borrego as the head coach in Chicago, that would be interesting. If he comes out of left field and does that. Let me see. I'm looking for some good questions here, man. Looking for some good questions here. We probably gonna talk another 5 minutes and I'm gonna dip. Bree, what up with you? Bree said mostly defensive identity. A lot of stuff might not fly like with Willie, even though Willie was a defense guy too. That's the thing. Mosley had that identity, and he was winning, and he was, winning pretty consistently. Now, one might say, well, Mosley was winning because his team was healthy. It's like, nah, that team wasn't always healthy. You know what I'm saying? Suggs, Franz, Paulo, they all had a lot of injuries they was dealing with. Jonathan Isaac never fucking played. They extended him. He didn't really do much. They extended Golga and Wendell Carter Jr. in the same season. They traded for Contavious Caldwell-Pope. That was a dud. You know what I'm saying? It was a lot of shit just didn't work out for them. A lot of shit just didn't work out for them. Say, would Gail ever approve a trade for Ja? I think it's different with players. And also, Ja wasn't arrested. Like, again, like there was some Zion shit that went around, a couple years ago, and he's still on the team. So, you know what I'm saying? DeJounte, like, he's still on the team. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of shit then went around when guys are still on the team or they've been acquired. I don't think Gail would be that hands-on with the shit. I don't think. The Rondo thing is different, though, because Rondo would be the face of the organization. But I don't think Gail would be that hands-on with a player personnel. I could be wrong, though. First, second, every team that aren't in it, it's time to go shopping. The players will be available. We may be able to get draft picks to take on distressed assets. You could, in theory, Mike. Now, the Pelicans don't have a ton of cap space to take on distressed assets, but you at best, you could trade. You could take on more years, like what they did with Jordan Poole. CJ was an expired. Jordan Poole had 2 years, so they was able to get a second-round pick. Like, for example, if you trade this hypothetical, Jordan Poole and Jordan Hawkins, right? That's about $41 million. If you trade them two for some bonus, you might be able to get a second, maybe. I only say maybe because you trading a bunch of expiring salary for a guy with multiple years left on his deal. I think he got 2 years left on his deal. So the Kings needing salary cap relief may be able to incentivize you to do that. But if you're getting the best player in the trade, maybe not. So it depends. They don't have a ton of salary like OKC had to take back like Gordon Hayward and shit like that, though. Let me see. 2 playoff series won in 25 years to hire someone who hasn't won the series. But shit, who's available that has won the series, to be honest? Jay Johnson, like Billy Donovan. Has Billy Donovan won a playoff series? Thibodeau available, I guess. But Rondo never been a head coach. Sweeney never been a head coach. Hetzel never been a head coach. Jared Jack never been a head coach. Chris Dudley never been a head coach. Like all the people that's available never been head. Darvin Ham won the series. Darvin Ham won several series. So could hire Darvin Ham, I guess. Still could hire him as an assistant. He's won several series, but I don't think people would have liked that either. So, you need to get to the playoffs, in my opinion. You need to get to that shit. JD said same struggle, but Willie and JB lost the locker room. We had to get a new face in. Yeah, you had to get a new face. You had to get somebody who's won, even if they haven't won at a super major level. Had to get a winner in the building. But again, phone ringing. You got to get somebody that at least got to the dance several times. Say, my dog say I'm almost at my lunch break. I'm good. Wow. Mike said reports say Mosley and Baccaro wasn't talking at the end. Yeah, and there's some people that don't like Baccaro. Me, I think Baccaro cold. I still think Paolo cold. Some people don't like Paolo though. But Crispy Clean, what's the deal, homie? Say Franz got injured. Yeah, Franz got injured, and Franz is arguably their best player. Yeah, what's the deal, bro? He said, what's good, everyone? What's going on? Man, just talking about this head coaching hire. Just talking about the head coaching hire, yo. Nola Big said maybe we can beat the Magic now that we have that coach. Maybe, right? Because we was busting their ass at home and we blew a double-digit lead, if I'm not mistaken. Basketball Sniper said some fans talk like we the Spurs Lakers or something. Yes, get to the playoffs is a big deal for us. Then we can talk about championships. Yeah, you got to repeat. Look, here's the thing. There's two ways to look at this. The Pelicans are hitting a wall, right? Pelicans hitting a wall, pause. So where like success is there, but they can't necessarily get over the hump consistently. You need a higher floor. That way you will at least know, look, my floor is the playoffs, right? My floor is the playoffs, maybe 7 seed at worst. That's my floor. Now you're gonna have to see if Mosley is the coach that, you know how some coaches are master motivators, like I'll run through a brick wall. You got to see if Mosley is the coach that is adjustable, who can say, all right, look, I tried to be a master motivator, that didn't work. I need to try my hand more at being a tactician. And maybe I could teach guys how to go around the wall, how to go over the wall. You don't always have to run through the wall. Maybe I could be smarter and work smarter and not harder with this. And that's why I think the staff is going to really come into play personally. Like that's just my opinion. Y'all let me know if y'all think that analogy makes sense. Crispy Clean said Mosley is a cultureship and discipline, which we lack, and Willie Green and Borrego cannot do. Borrego never made the playoffs, let alone 40+ win season with player appearances. This is the best scenario. Some might agree. Some might agree. Jay Black, what up, homie? He said if they don't want to take Rondo because of off-court issues, why would Ja Green like a Ja trade? Because Ja ain't about to be the face of the team, if possible. I don't think Gail's that involved like that. But if the rumors are true as it pertains to her not wanting Rondo, it's because Rondo would have to be the face of the team. Like he's the team's representative. He's the president. Like he would be the face of the, like how Trump is the face of the country. Rondo would be the face of the team. Like he's the one really going out wheeling and dealing. Like I don't know. Louisiana's guess. I hope he brings Sham Guy with him as an assistant. He did well developing Anthony Black. I like Sham Guy. The jury's still out. I think Anthony Black has some real ebbs and flows this season. But shit, Sham Guy was in Dallas, right? Sham Guy was in Dallas as well. So he definitely got some experience working with guys. Was Sham Guy in Dallas when Brunson was there? I don't know. Paperboy said bus pick only hours if it's a top 4 pick. No, that's not how that go, Paperboy. If it lands in the top 4, it's top 4 protected. So I think if it lands in the top 4 and the Pelicans land in the top 4, you keep it. You keep both of the picks, if I'm not mistaken. If it lands outside of the top 4, the Pelicans get the best of that pick. So hypothetically speaking, if the Bucks pick lands 5, if I'm not mistaken, if that pick lands 5, and the Pelicans got pick 10, the Pelicans would get pick 5, and I think Atlanta would get pick 10, if I'm not mistaken. Or like vice versa. If the Pelicans land 5 and the Bucks land 10, the Pelicans would keep their own pick, and and Atlanta would get pick 10. If I'm not mistaken, if it lands in the top 4, the Pelicans would keep both. And Quantum said, I don't blame Jamahl Mosley for the offense too much. Jamal's a leader type like the Steelers, Mike Tomlin. I don't think he's bringing all the Orlando coaches that botched the playoffs. He's going to hire a new crew. I hope so. But I really do not like the idea of bringing them guys back. Bruce said I might have missed it, but what do you think? I think it's a B. I give the coaching hire a B. That can become, a B plus. They can become a B plus if they bring in some great assistants. But it can become an A if you really get the roster together and can help, the team win. Because again, you don't hire Mosley and not improve this roster. I think they were going to improve the roster no matter what. But you got to finish the job. You got to see the job through. That's one thing that what's his name? David Griffin was never really able to do. He'll do one thing, but not the other. This, you got to finish the job. Say think the dressing against the children is the problem, and what was? Yeah, I mean, some of the accusations was pretty, man, it was tough. Jonathan Isaac always hurt and can't shoot. That's another thing, and they just gave him a contract extension. He couldn't play at all. You feel me? So, man. Sam Kim said, I like Mosley better than Willie. Mosley seems like a no-nonsense coach, which his team needs. Yeah, it's all about. Now, look, here's the thing too. A lot of times people associate black coaches with just being motivators and not X's and O's guys. I don't know if Mosley's a brilliant innovator, none of these things offensively. I really don't know his skill set offensively. I just know what the numbers suggest. Now, maybe the offense wasn't good because they didn't have enough shooting and they never really had a traditional point guard. Maybe that's it. Paolo don't really shoot threes. Franz don't really shoot threes. Maybe that was the problem. Now, if you give him some shooting and a point guard, maybe the offense looks much better. I don't know. But if he isn't an offensive tactician, you got to put a couple on the staff. Stackhouses would be good to back him up as a motivator, but I really would like some brainiacs on the staff as well. I'm not sure if they don't already have some people in mind. Maybe they do, because I don't think, look, if they was this locked in on Mosley since November, you better know that they was locked in on some staff people since November as well. So I'm sure that they got the staff they want, like, figured out for the most part, in my opinion. Don Gillespie say, damn, I wanted the Spurs coaching tree 2 bigs for sure, though that's good. Yeah, you got to get another big. You got to get some rebound, especially. I am Gift Via say I would take Sabonis. He can rebound and pass. Yeah, and you can throw it down to him in the post. He can get you a bucket in a tight situation. Ran a pretty good pick and roll with Russell Westbrook as well. So I think it's a bonus because nobody's scared of Russell Westbrook shooting. So I think it's a bonus, and Zion pick and roll would be interesting. But shout out to everybody building. Make sure y'all hit that like button. Hit the like button. Appreciate y'all. Bree said, crazy enough, Mosley would like Micah Peavy, no shooting. So, yeah, hopefully Micah Peavy can at least get to like 34% from beyond the off this year. Micah, we need you to do something. We need you to do something, though. We need you to do something for real. Jay Johnson said, I was playing for that first because I don't want to hand me this. Like, again, like it's a situation, thanks, Jay Johnson. Look, I appreciate your honesty. It's like you can't, you can't please everybody. Yeah, it's a situation where, look, if it was Rondo, some people wanted Borrego. If it was Mosley, some people want Rondo. If it would have been Ham, everybody would have been upset. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they had people, again, Darvin Ham went to a Western Conference Finals and lost in the playoffs the next year. But people still was like, if it's between Ham and Borrego, just give me Borrego. Borrego ain't never done shit. Borrego ain't never done a motherfucking thing. Zach say, honestly, why not Becky? Becky Hammond? Shit, bring her on. Bring her on. Becky or Don Stanley, bring them on. Like, I'm with it. I don't give a damn. Let's do it. Let's do it. Like, to me, it's all about what Nancy Lieberman doing. Bring them on. Fuck. Let's get some great basketball minds on the staff, man. I'm with it. I don't give a damn. I don't give a fuck who they hire, honestly. Because here's the thing. Mosley, Rondo, Ham, anybody, Becky Hammond, Don Staley, Dan Hurley, all these people, anybody. If you don't win, everybody gonna hate you. That's what it boils down to. If you don't win, everybody gonna hate you. Everybody gonna be upset. You gotta win. You gotta win, Dakari. Shout out to you. D say, not a fan of Mosley, but he's better than Borrego, so I'm good. Now, see, that's the thing too, D. My thing is this. I don't want, to me, my bar, I understand what you're saying, not saying you. My bar is not better than Mosley. I'm sorry, not better than Willie Green, not better than Borrego. Are you good? Are you as good as the good head coaches? Is Jamahl Mosley and Bickerstaff about what and what? I think they probably about what and what, to be honest. So I'm cool with that. Like, for example, if Kenny Atkinson had lost last night, would you want to hire Kenny Atkinson? Some people would say, yeah, because he got to the second round. And it's like, yeah, he got to the second round, but he went 7 games with an injured, super inferior Raptors team. He went 7 games with rookie Paolo Banchero and Jamahl Mosley in Orlando. And he just went 7 games with pretty much Cade by himself. But if he lost, would you be comfortable hiring him? And if so, why? You feel me? Like, that's why it's impossible to really predict how these things would go. But shout out to everybody in the building, man. Make sure you hit that like button. I appreciate everybody in the building. Yeah, DC. I think people forget he had Detroit out there in 5 a wagon and don't get hurt. Yeah, if Franz don't get hurt, I think them boys is gone, honestly. I said, what steps are realistic to make that jump to get into the playoffs? Coaching staff, players. Yeah, I think if you could supplement Mosley with a good staff, the way he's not carrying as much of that vocal quote unquote leadership burden. Like you get Stackhouse, you get some great creative offensive minds. Roster wise, I think you got to get another advantage creator, someone that you could give the ball to, they can create for themselves and help for others. That's why I like the idea of John Morant, because John Morant still got the explosive first step to get downhill, get to the cup. He's hit big shots from all over the court, threes, middies, the floaters. Like John Morant's done it all. Also, you got to get a defensive big. Defensive as, in my opinion, I want a defensive rebounder. I understand some people want more classical rim protection. I want a co-starter defensive rebounder, a guy that could just get you 12 rebounds, 14 rebounds a night. A guy that's going to be a menace on the boards so you can get out of transition. Like, for example, last year, Zion didn't really get out of transition much because we wasn't able to secure the board and get out, for fast breaks. I also think you got to add some size and strength on the perimeter. I think Herb too skinny at this stage. I think, the Pelicans, the Orlando Magic, and no disrespect to them, they were starting Jamal Cain, bro. They were starting Jamal Cain at one time. That's how questionable the back end of that roster was and how much they needed someone who could do something, maybe get hit a three. Jamal Cain was starting. Like, that roster had some issues because Isaac never developed. They couldn't play. Sir Charles said, given Zion history, I get Gail. Point, she probably tired. My feelings is that Mosley was the second best hire behind Rondo that was willing to come that we know about. That's another thing. Motherfucker got to be willing to join the team. That's a good point, Sir Charles. Pool for Turner and Rollins. If you can get Rollins, I don't hate it. My issue with Turner is that Turner does not rebound, y'all. That's my only issue with Miles Turner. Miles Turner does not fucking rebound. Miles Turner is too big and strong to not rebound, bro. That's my only issue. And he also got that trade kicker that I would ask him to waive. But if I can get Rollins, fucking right, let call it in. Call it in. But I think he would have to give the Bucks back their pick in this scenario, and I don't know if I'm willing to do that until I see what happens with Giannis. Jay Stein said people keep saying the contract is reasonable. What are the actual numbers? I have no idea what the numbers are. Have they leaked? People saying the contract is reasonable. Have the numbers leaked? Have the numbers leaked? Like, I don't know. What is I don't know. I don't know about that. That's interesting. I ain't seen no numbers. So Don Gibbs said Trey got a real problem with a defensive coach like Mosley. No more 43s a night. Well, shit. I mean, he probably gonna be happy to have a player like Trey. Honestly, now Desmond Bane was a menace. He's so small that his defense ain't really that awesome, but Desmond Bane was a menace. So hopefully he could get Trey to buy in defensively, because that's really one of the next steps for Trey, defense and self-creation. Dakari said, Chad, outside of Rondo as lead assistant, who else would you like to see them on the coaching staff? I mentioned Stackhouse. Terry Stotts is a great offensive mind historically. Some of the other names out there, I wouldn't be. I think Hepsel might end up going to Chicago, maybe. Micah Nori, but he's got such a great situation already in Minnesota. I don't think he would join, but Micah Nori would be a home run addition to the staff, in my opinion, with his offensive prowess, what he's been able to do with Chris Finch out there in Minnesota. Yo, and I'm not doing lines. It's allergy season. My fucking nose itching. I'm not doing lines, just in case y'all thought that. Basketball sniper that you in your bag now. You never hear black coach get talked about for X and O. Yeah, it's always, he's a motivator. He's a real rah-rah guy. He's not going to take any shit. And it's like, Tibbs is the same way. Like, you never hear about Tibbs being X's and O's guys, but that's not really the narrative on him. Like, why is that the narrative on all the black people? But Becky good in Vegas, we winning. She said Becky ain't going nowhere, huh? Said Becky not leaving AJ. Qualo said, I don't like Becky over reliance on AJ X and O's. Okay. Sir Charles Mosley might be the most qualified coach we've had in years. The ball is low. We can't really complain. Yeah, that's the thing. If you're talking about him being qualified, it's not really an argument, truthfully. Like, he's bona fide. Like, as he's one in the league, one at a pretty high level for a team in a roster that had a lot of questions, truthfully. These say if we can't get Morant, I go get Ayo and go big money for a big. That's the thing, though. Ayo is a free agent. You might can't afford Ayo. Ayo a free agent. If we can't get Durant, y'all gonna think I'm crazy. I would call and see if I can get Kyrie Irving if I can't get Durant. Cause I need a stud point guard. I think Fears can develop into that, but I think it'll be a lot going into his second year to ask for that. Say trade Ja for 2 picks and J Dub for Zion. Let's go get a ring. Woo, that's ambitious. Whoa, what up, though? What up, Detroit One? What's the deal, bro? Say good hire, fellas. Zion averaging 29 on 60% next season. Boy, would that be great or fucking what? Would that be great or what? That would be awesome. Say, why do you care what the coach get paid? Well, I think people care because, like, for example, Taylor Jenkins, it was out there. He got paid, what, 10 million, something along those lines. People care because some of it's public. And I think some coaches' salary not being public makes it like people question it, because if you're not delivering and you got this 5-year deal, people want to know how much you're getting paid. Same thing with players. I don't think coaches or players' salaries should be made public, personally. But I think since players' salaries are made public, then you should make coaches' salary public. It's only fair, right? Make executives' salary public too. Brian, who's handling with your most hated, big dog? So I want to see who he hires for the offense. Yeah, definitely. State Pelicans gonna be in top 10 watch. I hope so. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I keep fucking with my nose. People might think I'm on that dilly. Nah. I just woke up. My allergies fucking up. I gotta give me a Sudafed. But shout out to everybody in the building, man. I'm looking at y'all. I'm gonna go with these questions here, and then we're gonna dip up out of here. Whoa, what up, LP? I'm chilling, big dog. I hope you're doing well, man. We starting the week off with some news. Let's do it. D say, oh, Kyrie. Yeah, I fucks with Kyrie, man. Isaiah Stewart is the way. Poole and Fizz backcourt drafting shooter, Zion MVP. Look, Isaiah Stewart didn't really get no run in this series. Look, I had a trade, bro. It was Herb Jones for Isaiah Stewart and Ron Holland. Herb Jones for Isaiah Stewart and Ron Holland. Isaiah Stewart ain't really getting no run in that playoffs. And if you pay Duran, you can't have Isaiah Stewart, Holland, Asar, and all them dudes out there. You can't do that. You can't do that. You gotta no. You gotta get some shooting. You can't do that. H. Bizzle say finding a 3-level score is essential for the roster. Every top 6 team had at least 1, likely 2 on their roster. Yeah, facts. You ain't lying. You probably could get by about a sum of your parts if you bring a couple of guys. Like, let's say you get another guy who's just masterful at getting to the rim, got an elite first step, advanced creator, can create for others, or a guy that's just a beast in a post, and one guy who can stretch the court. I still like the idea of Fentecchio as a free agent. There's a couple guys that they can bring in. The Pelicans are in a decent spot financially, as long as they can create another roster spot. They got to create another roster spot or two so they're able to bring some of those guys in and give themselves a little bit more tax relief. They're not in the tax. I don't think they're really under threat of going into the tax, but you got to give yourself a little more space, in my opinion. And I'm also curious to know that if this team is looking good, will you look to get in the tax? That's something I'm going to have to dig around a little bit and find out. I already know the answer I'm going to get. Like, if, Miss Gail going to give all her resources. I already know the answer I'm gonna get, but I'm gonna still ask. But shout out to everybody in the building. Alfred said he done 4 more years of Willie Green 2.0. I'm telling you, I don't think Mosley's Willie Green 2.0, bro. I really don't think so. Basketball Sniper said, what could he do for Messi defensively? Could be the answer. If he could turn Messi into, I know we all say Clint Capella. I think it's because Messi African. That's why people say Clint Capella, to be honest. But if he can turn Messi into, because I don't want to say Clint Capella, if he can turn Messi into what Isaiah Jackson was trending toward before he got hurt, because remember Isaiah Jackson was pretty good in Indy, and then he tore his Achilles in New Orleans, which is crazy. But if he could like put him on that trajectory, and Messi could continue to be like a 11-8 guy, 10-8 guy, I already like Eve Messi personally. I believe in Eve. I know a lot of people don't think so, but I think he could be a very good rotational big, in my opinion. Brian say, I'm not leaving. I'm with the squad no matter what. I think the team gonna be good personally. I think the team gonna be good personally. JB for Zion, as in Jaylen Brown for Zion. Look, 1-for-1 in a vacuum, Mike, I would do that. In a vacuum, I would do that. But I don't think it does a lot for this team because you still gonna have some issues. Jaylen Brown, as it currently stands today, is a better player than Zion. But you still gonna need you still need more if you want the team to be good, in my opinion. Still need more team to be good, in my opinion. You say Isaiah Stewart was hurt, a future modern heard for Beef Stew, and Ryland would be a fleece. But shit, Beef Stew and Ryland didn't play because you really can only judge a person based on what they did last. Matter of fact, it was Herb Jones and Jordan Hawkins. It was Herb Jones and Jordan Hawkins for Highland and Isaiah Stewart. That was the trade. Herb Jones and Jordan Hawkins for Highland and Isaiah Stewart. Hold up. I'm trying to get a couple good ones before I get out of here. Meesey to be Gafford. That's a great one, Jay Johnson. That's a great one, Jay Johnson. Meesey as Gafford. That's a great example. That's a great example. Bruce say if we can get Walker Kessler. It's Walker Kessler, Bruce. If they get Walker Kessler, Peyton Pritchard, and Luke Kennard, this team would be tough. Hell yeah, shit. That's a lot of fucking offense right there and defense. I wish they could afford Walker Kessler. Walker Kessler is good in my opinion. Yo, we got 130 people in here. I know some people starting to fall out. If you could do me a favor, hit the like button. We about to wrap this up real quick. Pause. And shout out to everybody in the building. Shout out to my dog Michael Morgan with that 2 pieces. Said great content as always. Appreciate you, bro. We're gonna be on Twitter rapping. Y'all already know how it go. Shout out to everybody in the building, man. Please hit that like button for me. I appreciate all y'all support. Let's see here. See, Breeder said our first player of the season better not be no Zion post up. I know that much. Yeah, I hate the Zion post up. I hate it. And that's the thing too, bro. That's the thing too. And Borrego gone, so I'm not really shitting on him. But what I'm saying is, for all of this offensive ingenuity and all this shit that Borrego was supposed to have, why did we see so much ISO heavy Borrego basketball? Why did we see Zion in the post so much? Why didn't we see a lot of great offensive ingenuity from the offensive coach? A lot of this shit has to do with how good the roster is, to be real. Yo, Ink Stars, that's a crazy comment. Is you talking about Grady Dick Ink Stars? Is you talking about Grady Dick Ink Stars before I highlight that comment? Please explain that comment. You got to be talking about Grady Dick because that is an insane comment. That is an insane comment to put up. Yo, Jay Stein, you talk about 3 white guys. Them dudes that play though. Walker Kessler, Pritchard, and Luke Kennard can fucking play. Them boys can play. I ain't gonna hold like you. What Michael Jackson say? Man, if you're black or white, then them motherfuckers can play. Oh, you talking about Grady Dick? Okay, yeah. Oh, all right, Ink Stars. Yeah, great. I would take a flyer on Grady. I'd take a flyer on Grady if there's a situation where I could move Hawkins for Grady. I wouldn't give them nothing substantial for Grady, but I would take a flyer on Grady. Grady was 6'7", had a real promise in first couple of years, and this year he kind of just fell off a cliff. Really don't have a spot in that rotation just yet. I would call and see what's up with him. I wouldn't give up much for him, but I would call and at least see what's up with him. That say, what about getting Ja J-Dub and 2 picks moving Zion? You ain't getting all that for Zion. I ain't gonna hold you. You would not getting all that for Zion, Zach. That sounds like a cool idea in theory, but in practice, I don't think it's possible, homie. I ain't gonna lie to you, big dog. Yo, what's the deal, man? Make sure y'all hit that like button. We about to be out here. I think Dexter said, I think Moses is gonna hold Zion accountable. Zion needs got to push him. That's another thing. But also, even if you do hold Zion accountable and Zion even is like 27-7 Zion, still got to add some talent. But Zion would help carry the weight if he could really buy in and be the best version of himself. You got to utilize Zion correctly. Zion got to be more demonstrative and demanding. And sometimes you do see Zion like, yo, what? Give me the ball, and motherfuckers looking Zion off. That's where the accountability also going to come in. Like, yo, come at timeout. You didn't see Zion calling for that ball when he had Cam Thomas guarding him. Give him the fucking ball next time. Like, that's where head coaching accountability also comes in, holding everybody accountable. And that's what I like. And what I like too about the outside hire about Mosley, Mosley already seen what good basketball looks like, and he not about to come into this team and he be friendly with everybody. Like he ain't got no picks, no pun intended, because he like I don't know none of y'all, but Rego been here like 3 years. Like all them dudes been here a long time. He not gonna just come in and be super friendly. Now I do know Zion and Mosley already got a cool relationship. Like when you see them interact on the court, Zion and Mosley got like a solid relationship. Like they're like, what's up? Like, they always talking on the court, but they not friends, quote unquote, I don't think. But he probably look at Zion like that's a very talented guy. But so hopefully he sees the best way to maximize him. But I don't want nobody on this team and that staff kissing no ass. Like you got to show up and show out. Well, what up with you, Detroit Warren? He said I once seen a huge sporting goods store asking them to say I ain't never seen no dicks that big. Shit, oh my god, yeah, boy, look, they got a Dick Sporting Goods by my house by Target, and I'd be like, we just doing the Dicks, and I'd be like, oh my god, I gotta catch myself. Why y'all couldn't call it Rick's or Dickies Sporting Goods? I don't know. Dark Knight said, would you call and see if they're moving off Giddey? Yes, I like Josh Giddey. Now Josh Giddey don't fit the mold as it pertains to like physicality and nothing like that, but Josh Giddey can shoot sometimes. Josh Giddey is an incredible playmaker, and he can rebound at an incredible rate for his position. Josh Giddey can average a triple-double. Like Josh Giddey's that good. I think he averaged like 19, 7, and 10 or some shit like that last year. Josh Giddey is a hell of a fucking player. He's a hell of a player. If Bryson willing to move Josh Giddey for the DeJounte, Herb, and pick 15, let's do it. Let's do it. Josh Giddey and Jalen Smith for the DeJounte, Herb, and pick 15. Let's do it. Peace, God. Peace, God. Peace, God. Appreciate you, big dog. Say, what does a Mosley-led staff look like? In theory, you're going to get the defensive intensity. You're going to get the quote-unquote toughness along the perimeter and physicality, but you also got to have the players to supplement that as well. For a staff, I would like to see them bring in more offensive ingenuity in the event that Mosley is more so of a motivator guy. I don't want to put that on him. I don't know his offensive prowess necessarily. His lack of offensive ranking, like high ranking, could be a byproduct of Jonathan Isaac never really coming along. KCP falling off a cliff, Paolo not shooting threes. Could be potentially a part of that. But in the event that he is lacking some offensive prowess, I would like for them to go out and get a really good offensive mind, supplement that with Stackhouse. That way, if the message gets stale with Mosley yelling, Stackhouse is right there. That's a different voice who will probably have the same message, because Stackhouse is not soft whatsoever. So that's another person that they can add to that staff. Like, if you want to change the entire culture and get a bunch of motherfucking dogs in the building, get Stackhouse in the building with Mosley, because you're gonna have some killers on that sideline, and you can supplement that with some great offensive minds as well. Val said, "I seen it a lot, Chad." I think you're talking about the ISO basketball and Zion and the post-ups, right? Yeah, like, to me, it's uncreative, bro. It's uncreative. How many times did we really see Zion and Trey in the pick and roll? How many times did we see those ghost screens that we're used to seeing? We didn't really see that. We didn't see enough of that, and it wasn't able to maximize on that roster, man. Like, to me, that was the biggest indictment on Borrego. No one was asking Borrego to win 50 fucking games. No one was asking that. We was asking for Borrego to maximize the roster that he had. I just wanted Borrego to win 10 games before 2026 started. Couldn't do that. So, I mean, come on. Like, it's ridiculous. Call Boston for JB. I would love it. I call just to see what the price is. You gotta do your due diligence. They probably already asked, to be honest. Gotta do your due diligence. Squallow say teams have to maintain relationships. If Boston moves Jaylen Brown, is not going to be to a sub team like the Pelicans. Just fact. I can see them going to Atlanta most likely. And Dexter, you got the last question. Shout out to my dog Dexter. Say, I think Mosley can get this team to the playoffs this upcoming year, especially if we get constructive roster changes. I agree. Zion shot 48%. All his two-handed middies and close-range jump shots last year. It needs to become a regular part of his game. Hopefully, we can get Coach Chris in the building. Hopefully, we can get Coach Chris his trainer in the building to talk about what Zion's been working on. See, Breeder said we can't ask Zion to win 50 games either. We shooting for 45. Shit, 45, 40, anything between 45 and 49. 49 is the bar. If you improve the roster, 50 would be great. But it's the thing too. You can win 50 plus games in the regular season and still don't be shit in the postseason. Seen it a ton of times. You can win 49 games in the regular season, still don't be shit in the postseason. Seen it a ton of times. Again, Detroit, number 1 seed. 2 game 7s, almost got eliminated in 5 games. Ultimately lost yesterday to the Cleveland Cavaliers. But they was down 3-1 to the 8 seed, if I'm not mistaken. Regular season, the playoff basketball is different. So it's like sometimes there isn't much carryover. And I think we've seen that a lot this postseason. But yo, shout out to everybody in the building, man. The head coaching search is over. Now we get to really talk about this roster and try to fill out the rest of this staff. Can y'all please hit the like button for me? I appreciate everybody. I'm gonna run this quick commercial break. While I run this commercial break, if y'all could do me a service and hit that like button, it would be much appreciated. Much love to y'all. Yeah, y'all ain't know I had moves like that. But shout out to all y'all. Thank you, Val. I appreciate you. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Much love to y'all. We probably gonna double back later with the homie Elvin. We probably do another show for y'all later, but much love to y'all. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe. I'm out. Peace.